Welcome to MINDSHOCK True Crime. This is your host, Pierce McGuire, and this is episode 5, The Main POI. A POI who nobody else is talking about, and we will be naming names here. These are criminals with criminal arrests and prior records involving prostitution and the extent of trafficking we will be examining, and connections to other individuals in what is, of course, the most comprehensive analysis on the Amy Bradley case. As always, in all MINDSHOCK coverage, logic and reason at the forefront. If you want to help support the podcast, help keep up awareness in unsolved cases, cold cases, missing persons cases, wrongful convictions, and more, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell with notifications enabled if you want to be notified. And YouTube does not do a good job of notifications, obviously. So you can also join the free Patreon tier. Even the free Patreon tier will have all of the notifications. You can also check us out on Twitter and Reddit, and you can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section. Unless, of course, you are with us here live, then drop them in the live chat. So, one second here. Let me get this all settled. And we will begin. Okay, so obviously, since the release of the Netflix documentary, I'll be going over more of that in the next episode. Here, I wanted to get this POI on the table because I don't, other than mentions on forums here and there, I haven't seen any podcast or documentary covering this guy. Some people actually think he's linked to the Madeleine McCann case, which, again, if you haven't checked that out on MINDSHOCK, you could check that out as well. Deep dive into the McCann case. A lot of oddities in that case as well. So let's just come out of the gate and, yeah, get this guy on the record here. Couple of news articles here mentioning him. So, again, this is an individual with a criminal record. So we're not discussing any kind of private citizen who's never been arrested or charged with crimes, etc. So, who is this guy? We're talking about this individual, owner of Adult Vacations, and various iterations of such. This guy is Georgios Zaglanitis. So apparently he died in 2016. Now, who is this guy and what is his capacity in these hooker rings, so to speak? Let's go to the actual news articles here. So here's an article from, and this guy was based in Canada. So he's got a record going back some years. Prostitution ring charge, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. A Greek man and 4 Dominicans have been arrested under suspicion of marketing the Caribbean island as a paradise of pornography and providing prostitutes for tourists. The group brought in U.S. and Canadian tourists and set them up with Dominican prostitutes, police said yesterday. They didn't say how many visitors were involved. Arrested as mastermind was Georgios Zaglanitis, 42, a native of Greece and a resident of Ontario. So so he's arrested November 1st, 1995. This is Calgary Herald. So it seems like these prostitution rings for tourists have been going on for quite some time in the area. Let's look at another article here. This is the Gazette, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, page 10. Hooker ring suspects arrested. A Greek man, 4 Dominicans. So just went over more of the same here. They didn't say how many visitors were involved. The suspects were detained Sunday in a Santo Domingo hotel and brought before police Tuesday for them to press charges. And again, Georgios Zaglanitis was named as mastermind. So is there a crew of people here that are engaged in all of these activities here? And once again, does that have something to do with Amy Bradley? Because a lot of goofs hallucinate. They wouldn't be trafficking anybody. Like, it's really tough. It's really tough because obviously, criminals do criminal things. I mean, it's not rocket science, but for coincidence theorists and all these triggered goofs who hallucinate that Amy Bradley could not have, under any circumstances, have ended up being trafficked. Like, they hallucinated could only have been a vast conspiracy from the get-go, which wouldn't have happened because she was an American woman. But there are so many unknown variables here. So let's go to... Let's go to the forum Amy Bradley is missing. So what's curious as well, for the coincidence theorists here, is that Zaglanitis has a link here to Royal Caribbean cruises specifically. So he's actually advertising. So this is an advertisement within Royal Caribbean Cruises. Imagine a tropical island without borders. Every day is a new adventure with new horizons. When you see all the Caribbean with us, you'll discover how relaxing and entertaining a fun week can really be. Enjoy 8 days and 7 nights with an open-minded companion of your dreams on our floating resort named Vision of the Seas from Royal Caribbean. Visit 4 different exotic tropical islands, never having to change hotels or making additional connections. So quite, I mean, it's not completely overt and explicit, although actually some of them are. Look at this ad here. Who else can guarantee you an escort will be selected, will be at the airport when you arrive? I mean, this is pretty weird stuff. So this guy is advertising with Royal Caribbean for his sleazy websites and services here. So another curiosity here. I'm going to post this. So this information is from WebSleuths. And this was posted August 31st, 2012. I'm going to put it on the screen right now. So this is Alexei, wife mistress of Alexis Zaglanitis, aka Georgios Alexandros Zaglanitis. Lexi is originally from the Caribbean, but she moved with her family to Canada. Lexi is an exotic dancer. Alexis Z was the owner of the escort resort where Amy's photo appeared. At one point around 2004, Alexis had a heart attack and Lexi reportedly took over his resort responsibilities. Alexis has a number of children, but he and Lexi reportedly have 3 sons together. Yeah, the registration also on the Adult Vacations website comes out to a place, comes out to this place at one point in Ontario. So that's weird. And then also this guy, this criminal, also lives in Canada. Someone actually tracked down his home. Now that's quite modest for a guy making a killing on human trafficking, etc. Supposedly this guy's like a millionaire. I'm guessing there's multiple homes, but for whatever reason this home came up. And addresses in Canada. Okay. Another post here. Here's another post. Apparently, these are posts from Lexi now. Again, so this is all from the website where Jazz appeared. Some people think Jazz or Jazz. Some people believe it is definitively Amy Bradley. Others do not. So far, 100% of FBI analysts have concluded it was her, but that obviously doesn't mean it was her. So we don't have anything contrary to the original report of the FBI analyst. So here is another post, and this is, so Lexi posted this on, so this was her blogger profile. My name is Lexi. I'd always been attracted to the glamour of being in front of people. Love to help people have a good time. I couldn't resist myself but join Alexis Club as an exotic dancer. It was fun. The pay was good. That was a great life. From Montreal, Canada to Copacabana in Athens, Greece, I got to see the world while enjoying myself. It wasn't long before Alexis promoted me being a hostess and travel rep to the Dominican Republic, then called Caribbean Fantasy Tours. I got to spend time in both of my homes in North America, Europe, and the Caribbean, a truly fantastic part of my life. Of course, I still have my wild side and enjoy an exotic dance now and then. Traveling between the Dominican Republic and North America is definitely no stranger to me. If you're looking for a travel rep, a hostess, or a companion, just let me know and I'll see what I can do for you. If you're, or come take a look at Alexis Club, see for yourself the fun you're missing. I promise you an exotic, memorable, and thoroughly enjoyable vacation. Okay. So, yeah, a lot of goofs also hallucinate that if Amy was sold into some kind of trafficking situation, that she's definitely no longer alive. But, I mean, obviously, you know, a certain percentage of the time, I don't know if there's an exact percentage, but former trafficking victims do end up working for the ring, the trafficking ring, for money, whatever. There could also be leverage with potential children or whatnot. I mean, this guy has a history of having children with escorts. So, again, I don't know exactly how verified this is, but this is all what has been reported. So apparently this guy actually taught hospitality industry courses at BCIT in British Columbia. In the late 70s, he owned and managed various establishments in food and industry nightly entertainment business. In the mid-80s, he established a full-service travel agency specializing in adult tours and conferences and a medium-sized resort in Dominican Republic. In February 2002, he published his company on the internet. And in September 2002, he bought wildvacation.net and its small beachfront resort, Villas La Morenas, in Playa El Agua, Margarita Island. Some people think that this is actually the place where the jazz photos were taken based on the background of the rooms and the bed frame design. So, yeah. They also stated that Alexis Z and Lexi both stated that all of the girls on the website are physically there and work for the resort. So, but then they also claimed they didn't know anything about Amy while posting Jazz's photos. So I don't know. Apparently, there's also a photo. So on WebSleuths here, they're discussing that there was another photo of Jazz with another woman, and the other woman apparently was known to be at the resort. Huh. So Affordable Adult Vacations was registered as a Canadian company. So what does everybody think about this? This is an actual POI. I mean, he owned that website. He was previously arrested for prostitution rings. I mean, this is very, very curious information here, and nobody seems to be talking about it. And here he is with another individual that I think everybody can recognize. This is the one and only Alfred Cotton. Now, for those who haven't seen the previous episodes, Cotton just so happens to match one of the handlers seen with Amy in several different countries. Because a lot of coincidence theorists, like coincidence theorist Cope, is truly incredible in this case. I mean, it's truly incredible to hallucinate. Then all of these witnesses in different countries in different years are all not only misidentifying Amy, but somehow they're all perfectly, the sketch artists they worked with all perfectly depict the same guys. This is Alfred Cotton. But for whatever reason, nobody is talking about Zaglanitis, the owner of the actual resort. I mean, what is going on with this case? I mean, these traffickers and handlers all happen to be seen with someone misidentified as Amy Bradley? Again, check out the previous episodes. I go over Cotton and his convictions and all of this. So these are practically known prostitution ring / traffickers convicted. Arrested and convicted on the website that just so happens to be that featured photographs of this woman who many people believe is actually Amy Bradley. Now, I don't make such claims. Obviously, on I actually started a subreddit, Amy Lynn Bradley, for logical discussion on the case. And since the Netflix documentary came out, I mean, the Dunning-Kruger crowd has flooded that subreddit. I mean, it's like a full-time job trying to moderate that place with all the illiterate trigger goofs running around there. I mean, just allergic to basic logic, basic English comprehension. I mean, it's crazy. Obviously, I do not make claims here. But it seems quite unlikely based on known information that Amy went overboard because the ship was practically docking at that point. So, an FBI analyst said that this was definitely Amy Bradley. I mean, it's quite... Yeah, I mean, she definitely looks like her. I mean, this is a pretty in-depth analysis here. Yeah, forearm length, bone structure, chin angle. I mean, yeah. Very, very similar. Now, the main thing is, if it's not her, who is it? Because apparently there have been quite a few sightings. And the sightings are all similar to each other, too. So, if it's not her, is there a woman pretending to be, or just calling herself Amy and saying that she's from Virginia, needs help, etc.? Like, for what reason? Is this some kind of a diversion for something? Like, if it's not her, like, what would be the reason someone would be pretending to be her and making these claims, appealing to help from strangers, etc.? Like, what would be the reason for a woman doing that? Because the goof's hallucinating is just misidentification. I mean, did they even read the reports of the sighting? I mean, this is a woman calling herself Amy, saying she's from Virginia, etc. So, if it's not her, it is someone pretending to be her. Or are they alleging the family paid people off to make these statements and testify in front of a grand jury? I mean, you know, perjuring themselves, etc. Like, what? It's kind of hard to make heads or tails of the claims of coincidence theorists. So what we have here is a website where this woman's photos showed up. We have known traffickers, prostitution ring runners with arrests and convictions running the website. I mean, like, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Like, the coincidence theorist cope in this case is wild. Ari in the chat says, this is Epstein era of trafficking. No one knew about it and the internet was still young, so it went undetected for so long. Christopher says, I think the website is on the right track and only ever heard you talk about it. My mind was blown last episode. That dude in the band seemed sketchy too when I saw his interview. Yes, yellow. And let's not forget, like, the coincidence theorists desperately want everybody to forget about the sighting of, let me get this on the screen here. David Carmichael, Canadian David Carmichael, cited Amy, described her tattoos, and also described a Das Equi watch. Information that was never made public, and testified to this in front of a grand jury. And all the coincidence theorists are like the coincidence theorist cope in pretending he was mistaken while accurately describing all her tattoos. Pretending he was mistaken while accurately so this is the Playa Porto Marie sighting, August 98, while accurately describing this watch and also accurately describing yellow as being with her on this beach. So that's curious. So this is all mistaken identity according to coincidence theorist Cope. It's all mistaken identity. Like, why would he describe a man who just looks exactly like Yellow with her, all her tattoos, and this watch that information never made public? This guy reported this to the FBI, testified in front of a grand jury. So do they think the Bradleys paid this guy off to testify in front of a grand jury? I mean, what's the explanation here? Now, is it really outside the realm of a possibility that police can be corrupt? Because if this escort service is raking in that much money by appealing to these rich people who want escorts or whatever, I mean, clearly they could pay off the cops. I mean, this is corruption 101. I mean, how goofy are these coincidence theorists? Lord Zed says, did she disappear on spring equinox? Amy, did she disappear? When was spring equinox? So she disappeared March 24th, 98. Spring equinox 98 was, let's see here, 98 was March 20th. That's pretty close. Interesting call there, Lord Zed. It's close. Aries says, it breaks my heart to see that people are now blaming the family or they believe she was suicidal simply because she was gay. I cannot imagine how stressful that is for the family. Well, it's weird. Like, what does her orientation have anything to do with all these sightings and known traffickers and grand jury testimony of witnesses? What does it have to do with the fact that the Rhapsody of the Seas would be... Let's see here. Oh, man. I had all these images here of where the ship would have been. So they're docking. I mean, let's go over the timeline real quick, because I've had to go over this on the subreddit so many times for all the goofs who are hallucinating it's possible. So there's basically, there's been 0 people that I've been able to find that have went overboard and not been found, you know, during docking or shortly before docking procedure in a harbor. So the goofs, they say, oh, well, how many other cases are there of white women being trafficked off a cruise ship confirmed? Well, might be 0. I mean, another woman did go missing on that exact same cruise line inside of a year of Amy, but we don't know what happened to her. Maybe she was trafficked, maybe she wasn't. But there's also, how many people have disappeared in harbor, off a cruise in harbor, and not been found off of the ship, went overboard and not been found? So far, nobody's been able to cite a single example. So far, we're at 0. So they're promoting a theory with 0 cases. So you see here, that's the Rhapsody of the Sea docking. You see this narrow little channel? Obviously, she would have been found. So I'll just go through the timeline real quick that I posted so many times now. That, yeah, goofs just can't process it. They're all talking about the family. Like, yeah, obviously the father, I do not consider the father trustworthy in any way. I mean, some of his statements are weird. The brother's statements are weird. Let's throw them all out. Let's not consider it. Let's just go with Let's just go with the actual evidence. Let's go with the actual timeline. Like, why not that? Why not just go with the timeline? Like, it's so weird. So 6:30 a.m. the family alerted the ship staff. Oh, let's go a little earlier actually. Let's go a little earlier. Okay, so 5:30 to 5:45 a.m. several witnesses reported seeing Amy on the upper deck. The witnesses said she was three separate witnesses told authorities, not the family. They told authorities they saw Amy on the upper deck with Yellow. She was holding a camera and was handed a dark drink. Yellow was then seen leaving the area alone shortly after 6 a.m. So she was seen with a camera. Was a camera found in her room? No. So let's exercise some preschool level logic here. So this is Logic 101. I know this stuff is tough for the coincidence theorists. So the camera is missing from her room. The ship is passing through the little harbor here in order to dock. I mean, this is at least a 30-minute to 1 hour procedure. They're not in open ocean here. I mean, I don't know if goofs just think that it's, you could just zip in in 2 minutes from open ocean. You could just zip through a channel under a bridge and dock in seconds or minutes. I mean, this is a long process. It's a huge ship. How fast do they think that this huge ship is maneuvering through this tiny little channel under a bridge in this harbor? I mean, if someone's going overboard, they're going to be found pretty easily here. So yeah, she's taking photos of the sunset with Yellow, apparently. This is what the witnesses stated. So the ship docks at 6:30 a.m. So how far, if she went over, she's last seen shortly before 6. And docking procedure is at least 30 minutes to an hour. So this is right as they're approaching the dock that she goes missing. So if she went overboard, she would have clearly been found. The Curacao Harbor Police Chief Ed Mentor says if she came off the ship or fell off, we would get a body. Now, yeah, he could be doing damage control, but... So, anyway, at 6:30 a.m., the ship staff is alerted. At 7:50 a.m., the first public announcement is made, and passengers were already disembarking. So disembarking starts anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour after docking. So obviously, we have here, this is a pretty accurate timeline. The ship is docking at approximately 6:30 a.m. Give or take 30 minutes or so. So these are the facts of the timeline, unless people believe everybody's lying about the docking time. So this is based off ship records, according to all the documentaries and all the websites reporting on this. So the FBI has not corrected any of this timeline. So that means either A, the FBI has no interest in establishing the correct timeline? I mean, this is all from ship records, so it's kind of strange how the coincidence theorists are saying, oh, that's all wrong, and the ship could have actually been way out in open ocean prior to, this could be hours off. So that would mean absolutely everybody's lying. All the passengers, the crew, the captain, the ship records are all doctored. I mean, it would be so easy to verify that. So that's kind of a weird cope to just, try to push the theory that she went overboard. It's just really weird. Robert says, what is your opinion on the parents' court cases against Royal Caribbean? I mean, there's so much funny business there. So, if you haven't checked out the previous episodes here, this is episode 5 already, if you check them out, because I also talk about, black SUVs. These are reported by neighbors, this is not reported by the Bradley family. These are reports by neighbors that there were black SUVs watching the Bradley home. So some people believe it was Rhapsody of the Seas who had their own investigators keeping tabs on the Bradleys. Other people believe it's traffickers or whoever were keeping tabs on the Bradleys once they found out that that was Amy that was sold to them. Because they obviously wouldn't know who it was. So if this is some kind of sexual assault gone wrong situation, and these if this was crew members, Yellow, whoever, they didn't want to kill her after this situation. They might have sold her off to other criminals who obviously might not have even known she was American if she was passed out or whatever. Or they didn't care. They were, they'll take anybody. And then eventually, she gets to like a higher level ring or whatever, and they might be sending people. Now, here's where it gets crazy, because the whole Frank Jones situation does not make sense to me. Frank Jones is an alleged scammer and fraudster. So this guy said he's some kind of a special operator. So, yeah, this guy takes a ton of money from the Bradleys. And instead of just running, according to officials, I mean, this is almost like some kind of patsy situation. So instead of running with all the money, instead of taking the money and running, this, special operator, black ops guy, that's his claim that he hires actual special forces and former Navy SEALs or Marines or whatever. He hires actual military contractors who would have known that he was a fraud. Now, these guys have spoken out as well. So, and he says he has information from locals and that Amy is being held by guys with guns, and supposedly there was even an account of Amy singing some kind of lullaby information that was never made public. And this is somehow he got this information and told the family. So I'm postulating he might not be a fraud, and so we're in the post-Epstein era. Coincidence theorists, I mean, they're way behind here to hallucinate that trafficking can't involve government agencies or officials. I mean, they're way behind. I mean, I don't know if it's just mental weakness. They're too mentally weak. The mental capacity's just not there to comprehend that there are bad people in government agencies doing criminal things as well. I mean, it's like they're Santa Claus pretending that government agencies can only do good. And you're telling them Santa doesn't exist. They can't handle it, and they start having meltdowns all over social media. So this guy hires actual contractors? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If he's a scammer, you take the money and run. You don't hire people that can out you because they'd be able to tell you we're a fraud. And I don't think they ever even stated he was a fraud. They allegedly, their story is that they were taking fake pictures, etc., of Amy and sending them or whatever. What if they weren't fake? What if she really was being held at some kind of compound? And what if the stories, because locals said they saw her like out and about in market, in the street, etc. There's also a photo that came up on Facebook. I talked about this before as well. That just so happened to look like Jazz, whether or not that's Amy or not. There's also a nightclub photo. Let me get it on the screen here, if I can find it. So clearly Jazz was out and about in that area, whether she's Amy or not. Because a lot of goofs are saying, oh, that's just some kind of copy-pasted, manipulated photo from somewhere else that has nothing to do with the area. So clearly that's not the case. So here it is. This was posted on somebody's Facebook. This was supposedly at Carlos and Charlie's, where Natalie Holloway went missing from. But anyway, some people think, so that clearly looks like Jazz, regardless of whether or not Jazz is Amy. So this woman is out and about in the area. So is this simply a dead ringer for Amy? But then where did Frank Jones get the story? Where did Frank Jones get the story about the lullaby that was never made public? So we don't have that information. So to answer your question, Robert, about the opinion on the court case against Royal Caribbean, I think there was a lot of shady stuff going on with that cruise line. May or may not involve government officials, may or may not involve U.S. agencies. Because supposedly the FBI was boots on the ground investigating the brothels and adultifications for years, and without making any arrests or doing anything. So they might have known full well this was Amy Bradley and, you know, not wanting to expose all the rings, which may or may not implicate government officials, both foreign or domestic officials. So I think that lawsuit is a reflection of all of that. Now, maybe the Bradleys also got overzealous and, you know, with certain tips or whatever. I mean, obviously they're emotional. So, you know, maybe they, you know, I mean, it's kind of hard to hold it against them. But yeah, no, clearly that cruise line is pretty shady. Clearly they're hiring shady employees like Yellow. I mean, all of this is very shady. Christopher says, could they have been seeking gay women specifically? Maybe. Christopher says, as escort service wants to be able to offer as many services as possible, it could explain why Yellow kept bringing up the fact he remembers that specifically. Potentially because that's what he was told to look for. That's curious. Also, if Amy wanted drugs or whatever, and she kind of vented to Yellow, she was unhappy with her life or whatever, perhaps he kind of, he wanted to lure her and thought she would be a good candidate because she wanted to run away from her family or the U.S., whatever. I don't know. Ari says, a bisexual white American woman would make a lot of money in underground nightlife of the Caribbean. Women make other women feel safe. That's an interesting point. Ari says, I know I compared it before, but look at Ghislaine and Epstein. Yeah, we really have very little information. And if she was kept drugged up a lot, she might not have had that many lucid moments where she's crying out for help from strangers, because you would think there would be even more accounts. However, forum whistleblowers that have had other information verified stated that there have been a number of sightings that have never been made public. So, and we don't know the veracity of any of them or any of that, but we clearly do not have all of the information. So there may be potentially quite a few more sightings that we don't know about with details that for whatever reason had them held back from being made public. Because if they truly were innocuous, mistaken idea, because think about it, like look at all the sightings of like Madeleine McCann or any of these high profile, like this wasn't even high profile, like there's always mistaken sightings. They don't hold them back, they release them. The only reason to hold it back, if you think it's legitimate and making it public would cause, you know, that individual that she was cited with to maybe go into hiding or something. But you would hold it back if you don't want them to panic or leave or whatever. So, yeah, that's definitely a curiosity. But going back to the main POI here, why are people not talking about the actual owner of adultifications implicated here? And, you know, his right-hand man is Alfred Cotton convicted here? I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, why is nobody talking about this? Zaglanitis, some people, like, he has some ties to Spain as well. It's just, yeah, who knows how deep this guy is? But the thing is, nobody's even talking about him. I mean, everybody's kind of talking about all these other things. For those that haven't seen this montage that I made highlighting other women advertised on Zaglanitis' website, Adult Vacations, I mean, this is, this is the montage. We can go through it again. So it's kind of crazy. It's almost like, yeah, it's like a weird, it's almost like some kind of weird winking of criminals to publicly advertise possibly trafficked individuals. Some of these are absolute dead ringers. I mean, absolute dead ringers here. They're all advertised on the Adult Vacations website. I mean, all throughout the 90s here, 90s and 2000s. And they're ending up on this website. I mean, Jennifer Ann Regan here. She's got some very interesting, like, cheekbone eyebrow features and nose. I mean, look at this. Is this not an absolute dead ringer? I mean, maybe it's not her. Her, too. I mean, look at the shape of the face. The forehead, the eyebrows, the mouth. And look at that age progression. I mean, the age progression is just creepy accurate to the photo that ended up. I mean, obviously, she went missing in 91. She's ending up on the website much later. But, I mean, look at the age progression. It's so creepy. Some of these age progression photographs look even more like the photos posted on the website. Now, some of them are kind of grainy, and they're kind of hard to make out, but like this one I wouldn't be 100% sure of, but the shape of the face. And look at so this one also, look at the shape of the face. I mean, that's a pretty unique shaped face. Now, obviously, so many years later, like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to really say. I mean, this is a dead ringer if it's not her. I mean, even kept the same hairstyle. I mean, Joanne Otto also, I mean, just look at, even the facial expression is similar. I mean, obviously the makeup and the hair is a bit different. But the shape of the face, the eyes, the nose, the smile, like everything is similar here. I mean, obviously some of these photos on the website, some of them look like they're, on something, but so again, similar, but look at the age progression. Once you use the FBI age progression, I mean, it's pretty close. It's a lot closer. I mean, it kind of looks like the in-between point. I mean, it's just amazing how some coincidence theorists, I mean, who just zero respect for trafficking victims, will just hallucinate that these are all just impossibilities. I mean, is Christy Gerard not an absolute dead ringer for this woman in the photo? I mean, obviously older, obviously glammed up makeup. But I mean, look at the shape of the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, like the shape and proportions of everything. I mean, practically identical. Practically identical. The only thing different is the makeup and the hairstyle. So here's another woman with some interesting facial features. This also looks like quite a dead ringer, except obviously she looks kind of glammed up. But look, it looks like they're blurred out. So she has a tattoo of a bleeding rose on the left shoulder. Does it not look? That looks completely photoshopped out. I mean, look at the pixels there. That looks far grainier than the rest of the photo. First of all, some people also think they might have mirrored some of the images on the website to not reveal the tattoos. But yeah, I mean, we're talking 2000s here. I mean, Photoshop came out in the 90s. Let's get the exact year. I thought it was like mid-90s, but let's see. Oh, actually 87. It was created in 1987. The initial release was 1990. So yeah, by the mid to late 90s, people were using Photoshop. I actually used it in the mid 90s. I don't know if I used it earlier than that, but anyway. So yeah, for the goofs hallucinating, it's impossible to Photoshop out tattoos in the early 2000s, early mid 2000s, and after. I mean, I don't know what those goofs are smoking. Again, another absolute dead ringer. Maybe it's not her, but just, yeah, the shape of the face. Another absolute dead ringer here. Also her. Look at the shape. Look at the nose and the eyebrows. Very distinct features here. Another dead ringer here. And another one. This one's a little bit harder to tell just because the expression difference and the angle, like facing away, just turning the head from the back to the camera, this one's a little tougher, but definitely similar. This one is, I would say, another absolute dead ringer. And another one. Look at the eyebrows and the nose here. I mean, come on. Obviously looking older, but yeah, look at the eyebrows and the nose. And then here you have actual twins. So you have a dead ringer for twins? Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Alright, anyway. So yeah, if this guy's bold enough to advertise actual trafficking victims on the internet, I mean, look how bold Epstein was. I mean, I don't know if this guy's as connected in political circles or government agencies. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. Now, is it possible when he was arrested the first time in the mid-90s, like that got the authorities' attention and he was given some kind of a deal where he would like try to lure other people for blackmail purposes and he was made immune? And that's why he could just advertise with impunity. And he wasn't really concerned about repercussions because he had agency protection. Because he was like filming some of these encounters with prominent individuals within these rings. I don't know. But there's precedent here. If at least one of those dead ringers really is a trafficked individual, that means there may be more than one trafficked individual being advertised. And that, of course, could also include Amy Bradley. So I don't know why nobody's talking about this guy, but I wanted to go over him because nobody else has. Chummy with Alfred Cotton. I mean, this is crazy stuff here. I mean, these connections, like the coincidence stack is so high now. I mean, are there any goofs out there who think Epstein is innocent? I mean, they would have the same kind of thinking as the people who think Amy Bradley couldn't have been trafficked, and all these connections are completely coincidental. So what does everybody think? Here's another angle of the docking of the Rhapsody of the Seas. So you can see, like, these are huge ships. So they take quite, they take quite some time to go under that, through that little channel and under the bridge. So this is the area she would have went missing in. Or if she went overboard. So I mean, yes, it's possible she went over and wasn't found. But you would have to ignore so much evidence. I mean, you'd have to ignore all of these witnesses with information never made public. You'd have to ignore all these things, like, where's her camera? I mean, there's just certain... I mean, this is basic preschool level logic here. Like, this is the area that Amy would have gone missing in, if not here. Because, like, how long does it take to, like, turn the ship and dock it here? I mean, that's not a 2-second job. I mean, look at the size of that ship. So, but it would be traveling at a fairly low speed here as well. Like, how fast do coincidence theorists think this giant cruise ship could possibly go under this bridge here with, you know... You don't want to, like, how fast are they going not to hit the edge of the, you know, the side of the bridge here? I mean, you're talking a pretty slow pace here. So she would have been gone, she would have went overboard approximately here. Unless everybody thinks all the witnesses are mistaken and lying, etc., and they can't explain the missing camera from the room. So yeah, I mean, this isn't rocket science. I mean, this is pretty basic logic. And then you'd have to ignore Carmichael's sighting is interesting because it also includes Yellow. It's not just Amy. And all the coincidence theorists want to ignore that. So yeah, I mean, that's really all there is here. In the next episode, I'll be going over the Netflix documentary, but Zaglanitis here. I mean, this is a very interesting individual. So he had children with an escort. He was arrested before. He advertised specifically in the Royal Caribbean. So he advertised with this cruise ship. And he possibly has other trafficked individuals being advertised on his adultification website, which includes other individuals like Alfred Cotton, who coincidentally happens to match the handlers with a woman who happens to look like Jazz, who may or may not be Amy, in multiple different countries. The coincidence theorist cope to dismiss all of that is truly legendary. Christopher asks, has Renner talked about this website or its owner? Is he saving something juicy for his book? I don't believe I haven't seen him or heard him talk about this guy, no, Zaglanitis. I haven't heard anybody talk about him, which is why I wanted to cover it, because obviously MINDSHOCK is the most comprehensive and exhaustive analysis of all true crime cases here. I mean, other people have talked about Alfred Cotton, and Alfred Cotton worked for these websites, and he drove the boat. He was involved in all of this, and coincidentally he's connected here to Zaglanitis, working directly for him, and also eventually arrested himself. I went over all of that in the previous episodes. I mean, there's tons of photos out there of all of this. Like, it's not like this was all covered up. They were kind of operating out in the open with impunity, kind of like Epstein. So I have to wonder, did this Zaglanitis guy have some kind of government deal and he was being protected after the earlier arrests? And since then, like, he was given assignments to get blackmail or whatever on high-profile individuals using his escort service and his brothel, so to speak. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at here. Nobody's talking about Zaglanitis. So yeah, I mean, plenty more to come here. In the next episode, we'll be going over the Netflix documentary, a couple other factors, but I believe this individual should be talked about the most, and the connections to Cotton and the website where these photos of Jazz ended up. You know, like that's really where everybody should be focused, and why the FBI did nothing. So supposedly they did investigate on the ground. I wonder what they found out during the course of their investigation. I wonder if solving the Amy Bradley case blew something else wide open that they didn't want to blow wide open, which is why they didn't do it. Which is really sad, because they could have rescued her, and they had this Frank Jones guy who, if he really did find her, they threw him under the bus and just painted him as the scammer. Because obviously all the coincidence theorist goofs, I mean, they see it on the news, they're going to eat it all up. Like, they don't have the mental capacity or the critical thinking ability to think, wait a second, what if Frank Jones actually was legit? What would that all mean? They just don't have the mental capacity to do that. But here on MindShock, logic and reason rule the day, and we don't fall for logical fallacies. I hope everybody found another edition of MindShock True Crime interesting and informative. If you want to help support the podcast to help keep up awareness in unsolved cases, missing persons cases, wrongful convictions, and more, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.